Danielle.
Hi, Case.
How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to another episode of Bonus Sesh.
Wow, these have been fun.
Really fun. One thing we wanted to talk about today, which I think we both have an interest in, is feuds. Now, there have been many on The Real Housewives that have been
many
fascinating, and it's
we'd love to touch on those.
Yeah. Now, the first that comes to mind is obviously the most. I'm just thinking because of Bobby Zarin's recent death, R.I.P., was that of Bethany and Jill Zarin.
That is like an OG feud.
Yeah. And it seems to have started from a place of, I think, jealousy.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you were going to say love. I was like,
No. And I think it was Jill angling for a story, and it went sideways.
I'll say, will you take us through that story? Because I'll be honest, I know the feud. I know like what happened, but some ways I don't know what happened because I always like seem to have it wrong. Jill thought it was one thing, kind of like what you're saying. And then basically she lost so big time, she lost her spot on the show.
Yeah, basically.
Because in the beginning of the show, they were friends.
Great. And Jill was almost like this mother figure, and Jill had the money, and Jill had the marriage, and Jill had the life. And Bethany was younger and struggling and didn't have a good relationship, was living in like a studio apartment, basically trying to get her business off the ground, like running around in like a skinny girl truck, standing in like grocery stores, handing out supplies, and like everything was kind of a mess.
And we mentioned this on another bonus sesh, but we've heard since that Bobby's actually the person that recommended Bethany to be on the show.
Yes.
So presumably Bethany kind of is indebted to them.
Yes. And it feels like Jill let her know it all the time. Like Jill never didn't want Bethany to fly, I feel.
Yeah, she was kind of like her fairy godmother.
Exactly. And then through the show and through Bethany's tenaciousness and talent and whatever else she's got in her, she started to make her business fly. And during the time that I believe her business started to pick up, again, I'm sure I'm getting some of this wrong, but Bobby got ill with cancer. And I think it wasn't bad at the time. I believe it was a smaller thing and curable. Obviously, it came back and, R.I.P. But at the time, I believe Bethany had called, but maybe not enough to Jill's liking. I think it was that she hadn't checked in a way that Jill thought was okay. And according to Bethany, she's like, I did check in, but I also didn't know the seriousness of it. I didn't know what was happening. So I think there was some miscommunication. But as opposed to talking about it, like people do, I think Jill thought this was I think there was jealousy. Again, this is my interpretation, that there was jealousy involved. And so I feel like Jill started to use it to sort of like take her jealousy and just admit, and I think it was internalized. Like, I don't think she probably realized she was doing this, but I think she was jealous of Bethany's success and used it against her and said like, you're not a good person and you weren't good to Bobby and to me. That's my interpretation of the events.
Because people love when you tell them you weren't there for them enough.
I know. Of course.
Right. And then what happened?
And then I think she started to tried to get people against Bethany on the show, where she was like, don't shoot with her. Don't do things with her. So as to alienate her from the show.
And then the big hammer came down.
And I don't think, Andy and co appreciated that. Papa didn't like it. And I think I've told this on the podcast before. I said to Andy when I did Watch What Happens Live years ago, like, what is something that you couldn't stop a ball rolling on? Basically, like, what is something you saw happening?
Great question.
I'm great. I love this show. But I was like, what is something that you couldn't stop happening? Like, you're a producer, but he's like, the Jill Bethany thing. He's like, I can't remember exactly what I said, but it's on air. Like, there's footage of it somewhere. But basically, like, he said, I saw it happening and I said to Jill, are you sure you want to go down this road? Like, is this what you want to be doing?
Because also Jill probably didn't bargain for the fact that, like, whether she was successful, whether she wasn't, you don't fuck with Bethany.
No, you don't.
She really picked the wrong person.
Bethany was watchable TV too.
And Jill, in a way, like, wasn't as much.
No. So that was a feud that is OG.
And so just to end it, basically Jill was then kicked off the show.
Yeah. because she was kind of like
meddling
in the business
Production.
of the show, and that's not her job. She's not producing this show. Again,
but she thought she was, and that's where she made a fatal mistake.
And then since she has been trying to get on the show.
Why didn't she just understand that like letting that fight play out would get her everything she wanted?
I think she thought she was smarter than everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, I think she thought she was like, I'm going to alienate Bethany. I'm going to get Bethany fired.
Well, I was reading that article that you sent me about Jill. It is the wildest article of all time.
Was it page 6 or People? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was page 6.
Of course.
Essentially, like, it says Jill's tired of Bravo, like, dicking her around.
Yeah.
Like, they're tired of Bravo using her all the time and not paying her and not making her, like, a part-time performer. It's like, they've used her once.
I know. If anything, she is, like, clamoring back. She's always the one. Like, if they wanted you, you'd be there. But she is, you know.
It's like if you want like an old boyfriend to come back and you're like, stop calling.
It's like, we're not.
Like, stop stalking me. And
that's exactly what it is.
Nobody's calling you, sweetie.
And so she's like, I'm putting my foot down. It's like, you know, if they, first of all, they're not calling you. So it's just a question of like, if you're not going to show up to their Bravo. But then I just saw her in like Ramona's Instagram this last week. I guess Ramona's in Morocco, I want to say. And Jill Zarin showed up in the Instagram feed.
Okay, I'm looking at this article. I'm so sorry. We just have to discuss the photo. Please, everyone, look up. It's page 6. The headline is Jill Zarin tired of being strung along by Bravo. But this is an old school picture. Jill actually looks really good when she had that long hair. It's Jill, Bethany, the Countess, and Ramona. Please look at Bethany's skin tone.
Oh, wow.
It is orange. It is dark.
And I'm going to go on to say that
shocking.
Jill Zarin planted this article and planted that picture because Bethany looks bananas.
Right. Sources say Jill's grown tired of making cameo appearances on the show without being offered an actual job. It says pals of the former Housewives star have been lobbying for Bravo to bring her back. But while Jill's made occasional appearances, we're told friends feel like the network is getting her for free.
Oh,
such bullshit. Oh my God.
So that feud, you know, I'm on the same side as I've always been, which is I'm on Bethany's side. Jill, some of these feuds that have been on the shows, I've landed in a different place than I started when they first came on TV. With time and age comes wisdom. But this one, I was right. My first instinct is Jill.
Well, another feud just while we're on that show that kind of came pretty quickly on the heels of this one was Bethany and Kelly Killoren Ben-Simone. A name, it literally sounds like gibberish.
It sounds to me like a French facial cream.
Killoren Ben-Simone.
Did you get your Killoren Ben-Simone?
That fucking nut.
Oh, she's bananas. It's another feud where it's
her body can only be described as rugged.
Her body can be, it's like a machine.
She's like the Terminator. Like, God, what was the Terminator's name?
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
The female for Terminator.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, she wasn't really the Terminator, but I thought she was.
I know you remember.
Connor.
Yes.
I guess that was her character. But yes, Kelly and Bethany got into these insane fights. And then Kelly, as we all know on Scary Island, just went completely nuts, screaming at Bethany. And then it ended with this famous discussion, I'm up here, you're down here.
Yes. And again, Kelly was just crazy. And that's why she went away. No one could follow her.
It's funny because in the beginning, I just want to point out, I was always on Bethany's side. Like the Jill thing was nuts. The Kelly's completely nuts. But as time has gone on and Bethany's had like little mini feuds with people, like, and I said this on the podcast, like remember when she got in, and I would say it was a bit of a feud with Sonia because she thought Sonia was taking
Cheater
her
brand.
tipsy brand. I thought the way she treated Sonia was so terribly. There is something about Bethany where she doesn't, like Jill at least is a formidable match for Bethany. Kelly was a little bit too. She was strong and crazy, but like Sonia's like a gnat.
Yeah.
Like she can't take that.
No.
And Bethany crushed her so hard. I felt like it was an abuse of power.
I do think if you want to be friends with Bethany, you have to live in Bethany's world. And you have to be able to forgive and forget at lightning speed.
Well, also in page 6, it just came out that Bethany put out an ad for an assistant, which I'm like, I should put out a similar ad. It basically said, must have thick skin, be able to lay out outfits for me, and be available 24 hours a day.
Wow. Is that what it's like to work for you?
It literally, those were the qualifications. And then Bethany got all like pissy because that, I guess it leaked. and probably another assistant got fired for that. But she wrote this thing that was like, yeah, page 6. And also it's a business degree all in one. Someone doesn't have to get their MBA after they work for me. It's like,
I disagree.
That's going to hold up at Wharton.
I work for Bethany. She brings her little like paper diploma.
Fuck
Bethany
Wharton.
I mean, come on, Bethany.
She thinks quite a bit of herself. I think it should have said, must be willing to be my best friend.
Yeah, but also take it when I abuse you. That's where Luann is great, because the women that survive on the show and survive a friendship with Bethany, unless you're Carol and have like some sort of status that Bethany wants, is that you have to be able to take abuse and then be upset and be mad, but forgive.
Luann, it was literally like she didn't even know what.
She said the meanest things that have ever been said about anyone to Luann.
Yeah.
Ever. Mm-hmm. She was like, you're a whore? I mean, no one has ever called me a whore and then we're friends again. Like that we're speaking again.
It was like the bullets just like blew past Luann. Like she was like, hey, Beth.
Yeah, she was like, well, we're friends again. Yeah. Like, you shouldn't be. But that's, and Sonia is also that way. Like she's no match for Bethany, but she's able to roll with it. You know what I mean? Like you have to roll with it with Bethany. And so Kelly Kaloran Ben Simone could not.
Now, there's another feud I'd like to move on to. Different city, different area of the body.
Okay.
There's been an update on this lawsuit that I believe you and I have been following breathlessly.
Oh, yes. I would need to
You know what I'm talking about?
Of course I do.
Okay. This is a feud.
Down south and down south.
Feud for the ages. Okay, this has been settled in court. Brandi Glanville apologizes to Joanna Krupa as the feuding former Housewives stars settle long-running lawsuit. This lawsuit was a toofy.
Yeah.
Essentially, basically Brandi issued an apology to Krupa admitting regret over the public comments that she made throughout the last 4 years. And this was her statement. I want to apologize to Joanna Krupa for the statements I made about her. I regret ever making such statements about Joanna Krupa. I also certainly never intended my statements to be taken so seriously and out of proportion. I apologize, as I never wanted my statements to affect Joanna Krupa's reputation, and I wish her nothing but continued success in life. But she does have a stink-ass vagina. No, she didn't write that.
I mean, this is a feud that I can't imagine.
And Krupa got a settlement. That means she got paid out.
She deserved to be.
Yeah.
I mean, Brandi is a loose cannon.
I don't mean to be dramatic, but I don't want to say this dramatically, but I would find that like almost like life ending.
Well, no, here's the thing. It's like to have a smelly vagina feels like very anti-feminist, I will say, because it is taking what God has given us. It is taken like, look, we are human. We are bodies. We have smells. We have sounds. Like none of them are perfect on any day. Anything can happen. Say, we've all been everywhere with our bodies. And so to me, like it felt like a low blow.
I love how you're acting like no one's on your side. Like, it did feel a bit like a low blow. This is the worst thing I've ever heard.
It's the worst thing, but it's also the intention behind it was to hurt in a way that like is false, but you can't like, you know what I mean? Like, and it just felt childlike.
So smacks of like Brandi has had, and I do not knock anyone truly that's had plastic surgery. I'm like, God bless, do whatever makes you feel better about yourself. But just the facts are that Brandi's had so much plastic surgery that to me and her just rampant anger that has had zero growth over the years about what's her name?
Leanne Rimes.
Which, look, if my husband cheated on me and then another woman was raising my kids, I would set rest of Los Angeles on fire.
I know, but keep it out of the public. Like your kids can read that. Do your best for the kids.
Exactly. And Brandi keeps stoking the flames. I believe this Halloween she dressed up as Leanne Rimes.
It's like when Leanne Locken dressed up as Brandi, good Stephanie and bad Stephanie.
Exactly. Like stoking the flames. And I just feel like Brandi is so insecure that is the worst thing she could ever think of, because it involves like beauty and like femininity. And she's so kind of, I would say, desperate.
Sexual attraction.
That's what she has. I love how, again, like I don't care if someone's posting photos of them like nude or whatever. God bless. Wish I could do it.
Yeah.
But all Brandy's photos will be like this gorgeous body, you know, and then just like the dirtiest bedroom, just like shit all over the grounds. Like, it's so gross.
Oh, it's so dark. Well, but I will say this. I am not on Brandy's side, obviously. Like, I think it's a disgusting thing to say. And like I said, I think it's a very anti-feminist message. It's anti-woman. It's immature. But
Joanna Krupp was no prize.
Yeah, okay. But here's what I say. Can you really get sued for saying something stupid? Like, can you really get sued?
It is at such level of defamation of character. It's so, you know, she's a model. It's like her work is to be gorgeous. I would sue someone if they said that to me about me publicly, 100%.
Really?
Yeah, I would. Yes, I would.
Okay, interesting.
Now, let's talk about one more feud involving Beverly Hills.
Okay.
Involving the Richards sisters.
You know, it keeps getting better and worse and better and worse. It is bigger than the show Real Housewives. It is so...
It can't contain it.
No.
The multitudes.
It has so many levels and layers. There will be a book about this one day. And it will be a bestseller.
And it will be written by us.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so because...
Ghost written by Brian Moylan.
Yeah, yes, of course. We'll put our names on it, our faces. But
I mean, no wonder Kyle is making a show about it, American Woman, because it's so wild. Like, their upbringing brings me back to the old Hollywood.
That's it. Like,
and the
you
studio
must remember
system.
this.
Yes.
Like, I feel like they could do a whole season on just this family, the Richards, the Hiltons, like the involvement with like.
I feel like Ryan Murphy should make it as his next true crime.
I mean, how do we get involved?
I'd love to.
I could play Kim. You could play Kyle.
I don't think unless we're. I don't think he. Okay, I'm not going to say that about Ryan Murphy. I'm not going to go there. Also loving Versace, sidebar.
Yeah.
I think like when that scene in the limo took place, which is when we had liftoff. And now the Richards sisters, initially, I found them to be when they would gang up on someone, very tough. Like, speaking of Brandy, when they hit her crutches, that was so mean. But then when they turned on each other and Kyle was in that limo and we all know what she screamed to Kim. I mean...
Well, it showed us the levels of the relationship. We were having just kind of a fun, silly show. Like, you're such a fucking liar, Camille, about, like, it felt fun and games. And then it all of a sudden it got really real. It was centuries. We saw the layers of the tree, you know, like.
And then for it to continue to peel off in the way that it has, which is like, well, yes, she was an alcoholic, and then everyone's accusing Kyle of enabling her, even though Kyle's like kind of saddled with this sister. And then Kathy kind of, you can tell in the background, always thinking she's better than them because of Paris. And
but then them sort of usurping her power because Paris kind of isn't a thing anymore.
Because of the show.
Because of the show.
And then to hear that Rick Hilton of Hilton Highland, who had employed a young buck,
scrappy Jewish Hispanic gorgeous
dream named Maurizio, that he decided to spin off on his own and started a rival real estate company.
That I believe, I don't even know of Hilton and Highland anymore.
Neither do I. Where's that show?
I mean, I would write it.
Now, is Kyle even seeing the Hiltons? Because I did see them all in a photo at Kris Kardashian's Christmas Eve party.
Was Kathy there?
Yeah. Kathy was there. But I think...
Are they civil,
and
but
they're
not
mad. Of course, you know, they're mad that Kyle's doing her show. I don't know what's going on. It's really sad.
And again, I mean...
And their kids are so close.
Yes, very close. All like close in age and love each other. And hopefully it doesn't affect them. But
I think the kids have kind of stayed out of it because I do see Farrah and all the gals in each other's Instagrams.
But, and even Kyle posted a beautiful photo the other day of like all the kids together with... I think Kyle, and I think it was when she'd just given birth to Farrah and like all the kids around. And it was just, it's just tough. But like this family is so
it's really hard when like your success seems to hurt someone in some way. Like, and I think that's how Kyle's feeling, both with her shows, both with Mauricio's success. Like those yachts aren't paying for themselves.
No.
Wow,
but I'm rooting for Kyle. I'm rooting for all three of them. Yeah. I'm rooting for Kim.
I'm not rooting for Kathy.
Neither am I, actually. I'm
definitely rooting for Kim.
Oh, me too. I saw that Kyle posted this beautiful shot of Kim the other day.
Really?
It was a bunch of them, but Kim, it was Kim, her mom, no, Kim, her dad, who we never hear from.
Never.
Kim looks stunning. I've never seen a picture so gorgeous.
I mean,
in my
that
life.
is some whatever happened to Baby Jane shit.
Like it was, but I mean, that's what they are, the most fascinating family that is ever.
And going through it all, I have to say, I find Kyle to be the most grounded housewife.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like Kyle's seen some shit and she has gone through some stuff and she really does appreciate the life she has.
Yeah. Oh, and she's the most down to earth too. But that feud, we haven't seen the last of it. And I want to know more. And I would like to read a book about it. And I know that there was like an unauthorized book, but I would like
Which we both read.
I'd like a little more real of a source. Like I would like, honestly, I'd like
Andrew Morton. I'd like.
Or you must remember this, Katrina Longworth.
Exactly.
I would like to call upon
a historian.
her. Yes, I want a historian, someone who's really like not looking at it for the smut. I mean, they'll find the smut, but they're looking at it from a historical.
God, do you remember reading it claimed to be unauthorized biography of Princess Diana by Andrew Morton, and then we found out that she was his source after the fact. I know this is a sidebar, but I think it's worth it. I was just listening to a podcast about conspiracy theories surrounding Diana and her death.
What is this?
It's called Conspiracy Theories.
Okay.
And it's not like a great podcast, but I am so into conspiracy theories and just kind of like her whole life and everything that had happened that I guess I wasn't totally clear that, and I don't care about the royals, but that Prince Charles had been dating Camilla before Diana.
I did know that.
Okay, so fine. So then after everything's going down, they're still married. The princes are growing up and their marriage is so acrimonious. I forgot that two voice answering machine messages came out.
Oh, the tampon one?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Okay. I don't know how I'd forgotten it, but basically there is a voice message that exists on planet Earth that was released in which Prince Charles says of Camilla Parker Bowles, "I wish I could be your tampon."
I wish someone would say that.
So disgusting.
No one's saying that to Joanna Krupa?
No one has said that to Joanna Krupa. Oh, that should have been part of Brandy's apology.
I know. I would like to be your tampon.
Sorry to do sidebar, but that is a feud. Was the two of them? I think it fits right in.
Oh, for sure.
And I forgot that Diana had thrown herself down the stairs when she was pregnant.
I forgot about that. With Harry or with Wills?
Not sure.
Rough.
Jodie Al-Fayed.
Oh God, it's so dark. I'm watching actually The Crown right now, and so this is all playing into it, which is amazing. I love it. Another feud I would like to talk about is Atlanta, and that is of Phaedra and Candy. It's so dark.
It's so dark, and the lingering player Portia still remains.
Who is unapologetic. P.S. I mean, she's apologized, but not in any real way that feels.
I would love to know is the conversations behind the scenes that went on of like, we can't have Phaedra. How do we tell her? Was she indignant? Was she apologetic? Was she?
She would never be indignant. She was probably like, okay, I hear you.
Onward and upward.
Yeah, she would just take her.
She's like, if the good Lord will have
she
me.
would take her Scarlett O'Hara-ness and be like, tomorrow is another day.
Yeah.
Just be on her way. But there is a simmering. She's not done with Candy yet, I believe.
Really?
She's too angry.
I'm not kidding. If I were Candy, I'd be legitimately scared of a Phaedra.
No, I think she should be. Mm-hmm. I mean, Candy is... Miss Parks. Oh.
Esquire.
She is terrifying. Because the level she stooped to, we just saw the tip of the iceberg, the level she stooped to.
And the best was when she finally admitted that she had lied and said that, Candy had like a dungeon in her room for like threesomes and coerced people to have sex and all that. She was just like, I guess I was not telling the truth.
But it's shocking to me. And she kept going for Candy. And she went every which way, which was she went directly for her money. She had that guy, she set that guy up to sue Candy. Then she went for the sex. Like she went in. And I'm granted, she was upset that Candy had stored Apollo's things. Great. I get that she was pissed, but call a girlfriend and said, hey, you pissed me off.
No, see, I can experience those levels of rage that are so dark, and the revenge is just like blind revenge. Now, I will say I don't really act on it ever, but
like you're scaring me.
I know, but I have been there, Mm-hmm. Like one example, a guy walked out on the rent for me when I was kind of like on the deed of this shitty apartment in New York. And I didn't really know where to find him because he was like a Craigslist guy. But I knew that he went to Fashion Institute, FIT, which is like not a huge school. And I printed on hot pink paper 1 million flyers with his face and said, this man walked out in the middle of the night and took his mattress and owes me $700. And I littered them all over the SVA like courtyard outside. You know, I will get up to stuff.
But to me, that feels like empowering because he did you very wrong.
Now, look, let me just explain one more detail because he didn't do me that wrong. Oh, no! The reason he left was because he saw the actual rental agreement, which I'd left out stupidly because I was paying less and charging everyone else more.
Okay.
But he still didn't pay me.
He didn't, but he was angry with you.
Yeah.
So it seems like the street had two sides.
The mirror has two faces.
So did you ever find him?
No.
Wow.
Look, I didn't say I was a perfect person. I'm just saying, much like Phaedra, I can see that like need to lash out. I wouldn't be surprised if Phaedra was a Scorpio.
We can find that out.
Really? I'd love to get her chart done.
We could pay to get Phaedra's chart.
Yeah. Now, what was the major fight in Atlanta in the beginning? It was like the original. Well, I mean, Nene and everybody.
Yeah, Nene and Kim was a big fight at the beginning, but they have, you know, then they were friends again, and then Nene tried to choke Kim out.
Sure.
And then they were friends again. You know, like that is.
And then Kim and Candy's falling out, where Candy essentially wrote Kim a hit song. The hit is
Tardy for the party. It's like
I don't know many people that wouldn't know it.
Yeah. So
and then like didn't give her royalties and didn't give her credit.
Yeah. That's basically what happened. I am not a person that will ever be able to do that. There are people, God bless them, and I'm not like I wish I could just take the credit and run. Like Kim's a sociopath. You know what I mean? On some level, not entirely, but like to.
I'm sorry, Danielle, and I'm so sorry to cut you off. What? But our producer, April Mouton, has just flown in some news that Phaedra is, in fact, a Scorpio. Yes.
I knew
it. God, am I the new Heidi Rose Robbins? Born October 26th, 1973. October 26th, baby. I'm October 24th. Ooh,
wow.
That felt good. There's no doubt she is.
Wow, you knew it.
I knew it. I it's like, yeah, I knew it. Wow. Sorry. So
that was important. I'm saying like to be able to take that credit, to not be like, hey, look, you know, to not have a conversation about something, to just go ahead and do something is not with, and it's probably held me back in this life, I would say, in this business perhaps, is just to move forward with no care for it. You know what I mean? Like with no care for the people that helped. It's funny because I have seen a lot of people in this business who do that, but the interesting thing is they've convinced themselves that they are great people. Yeah,
that's the only way you can do it. Yeah, they're not like
Kim thinks she's a amazing person. Kim thinks she's a great person.
Okay, someone tweeted me a photo that was so amazing. It was Kim sitting next to, I want to say, Sheree, and they're clapping in this last episode. Oh my God. They're clapping, and Kim has put her red Solo cup in her teeth and is just holding it in her teeth while she claps. It's quite something.
I mean, that is something.
That is one feud that you'll never see, which is Kim and her red Solo cup.
No, that is a relationship.
Or Kim and Croy.
I believe they will be together forever.
And Kim is, 100%. Kim has driven his parents out. She's driven her parents out. She's driven anyone out that could ever like intercede in that relationship. Mm-hmm. Did you notice when she came over to Portia's house 2 weeks ago to like get that weird vegan cooking lesson? She's like, can I bring some food out to Croy's in the car? Like they're so codependent. Croy was sitting in the driveway in the car.
No.
So I feel like Kim's like, I'll do the show, but I'm not going to fucking give up time with Croy. Croy's back from training. It's like Croy's never going back to any team.
Croy's done. Mm-hmm. Of course, lucky he'll be doing like the local high school football game, commentating. I mean, like he's not.
Yeah.
Like that's it. I mean, I love Croy.
Yeah.
God bless him. I worry about their spending habits.
Oh, absolutely. With that stylist. Okay, one last, we're wrapping up, but just another fight to touch on, which I think we saw resolution to this year, which is why I'm bringing it up, which is that of Danielle Staub and Teresa.
Yeah.
One of the biggest feuds we've had, except for the Manzo family, which much like the Richards family, I find it much less interesting.
Yeah.
but no less deep.
Yeah, that's a deep feud, but it's much less interesting.
What the fuck is going on with Dina and Caroline, and why didn't they tell us?
It was so hidden. I can't get at it.
Why don't we ask Greg Bennett?
Greg, we're coming for you.
We won't tell anyone, baby boy, but we need to know.
We need to know. We need eyes. We need hands. Can you get us in with Caroline?
I just don't want to see that hairless cat.
I hate that hairless cat. I have a feud with that fucking hairless cat.
Me too.
But yes, you're right. The feud between Teresa and Danielle Staub was over. It ended with such a whimper, though. Such a whimper.
But it seems even the feud between Danielle Staub's, her name just makes me crazy. Danielle Staub's daughters and Teresa.
Yeah, I mean, that is actually more interesting in that she had to go apologize. But Danielle is what's the word I'm looking for? She's
Lady of the night.
No, she's not herself anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the yoga or the medication she's on. It's something.
Yeah, she's just not there anymore.
And I will say the feud between Teresa and Melissa Gorga never really got my juices flowing because Melissa Gorga is too normal.
Yeah.
So it couldn't provide the sparks.
And it didn't have the the age, the ages, it didn't have the gravitas of some other feuds that we've seen.
Yeah. And then, of course, Orange County is just Vicky with everyone.
Yeah. Well, Vicky's a terrible human.
Indeed. Wow. Danielle.
Casey.
I'm drained thinking about these
feuds. Wow. It's, again, they're there for us to debate, to love, to hate, to figure it all out. There are versions of ourselves that we see on screen and we side with ourselves or we side against ourselves.
Danielle. That's some Sally Jesse Raphael shit. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.